I know we jumped into straight to producing, but obviously we DJ'd way before we started producing.
Oh,
Now,
yeah. I mean, 14 years old, I think.
yeah. So I wanted to ask you, because I know when I started, I know, do you recall the day because I know, I recall you going into where I used to live, which is in Sun Valley. You went.
Yeah, over in Crockett.
Crockett, yeah. And I think you and your dad went to, which technically was my cousin's house, but we lived in the garage at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember you.
That, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember you showed up, and I want to think that was the day that you kind of got interested, or we both, because I knew you already.
So yeah. So that was actually the first time I seen you since your father had passed.
Right.
So your father passed,
mm-hmm.
and you and I kind of just we didn't fall out, but
right.
You obviously had other things going on. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give him a space.
Right.
And then my dad said, "Hey, I gotta go." I think he said I had to go take something because we had that, remember the white truck.
Right.
I think he was gonna take something to your Tío Checo.
Right.
And I said, "I'll go with you," because I was like, you know what? Let me go see Vic.
Right.
I mean, you're my boy, but I just hadn't talked to you.
No, because remember, I went to John Muir, and I ended up going to Luther too. I think that's what happened.
Right. You went. I think for the first year, 7th grade, you went to Muir.
Yeah.
And then when your father passed, that was the first. That was the first time I had gone, and you were real like, "Hey man, check us out!" Like you were like not presumiendo, but like real proud. Like, "Hey man, look what my dad bought me."
Right.
You
yeah.
know, and
Oh, shit, you
this
remember?
is really cool. This is cool.
Uh-huh.
And to me, it was really cool that you had that. And then you like, I DJ. I go, "Oh, okay, that's cool." You know. Yeah. And no me acuerdo cómo me metí, no sé si me invitaste o qué, but I'm like, yeah, well, if you want to do something, I got the truck. And I think that was like, oh, okay, well, you got wheels, that's something.
Well, the thing is, what I remember is my first gig, it wasn't even with you, it was my mom actually took me, but obviously it was a couple parties before me and you actually, but our official crew party was your dad taking us with the truck, with your dad's Ford truck. This show entails about production and all that. So we might, talk about producing and people we were going to supposedly sign. I don't know if you remember the stories. I actually want to hear them from you because I actually came out in a show in a small little interview that Mike Flores, he used to work at Power. Long story short, he interviewed me. And for what I recalled, I told the story. But, as time you watch it, and I watched it a couple of times and I'm like, man, how accurate was that? Because obviously you were there when, we were trying to sign or talk to Miranda. You love it so, you love it so, you love it so divine. Yeah. So you were the one that actually discovered her, or at least between me and you discovered her, and you're the one that kind of introduced me to her. And
I met her, and then I said, you know what? You got to be my buddy Victor.
Now, did you see that interview? How accurate was it? Because you sent me a text.
I watched it, and I did watch it, and it was. It's funny, right? So you always have that person that there's two selves, right? The remembering self and the experienced self. Right? You experience something, and then you think back about it, and it's a little different than the way you actually experienced it. But that's normal.
It's normal. It wasn't.
I think you hit the main points for sure.
Okay.
La neta she was at my house because we were having a party, and she was at my house,
right.
And she was actually with my friend Luis. Remember Luis, bro?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
So she got with him, and then in the morning he said, I think we were having breakfast or something. He's like, hey man, just so you know, you still doing that producing thing? I said, yeah, we're still trying to get into that. And he was like, because she sings, and he points to the girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the night before, this party's at my house. My parents weren't home, clearly, and he had spent the night because he's a friend of the family. Mm-hmm. He spent the night with her, and the morning we're talking. I had some interaction with her that night, but not a lot. I mean, because she came with two other girls,
right?
And then clearly she had a thing for him, and they kind of just hit it off, and then they did their thing, right?
Right.
In the morning, that was actually the first time I know Kaden had a full-on conversation with her. I said, oh yeah, can you sing? She was yeah, like muy modest. And I said, all right, well, let me hear what you got.
Uh-huh.
Now remember, this was first thing in the morning when everybody's got that crackly, that
the groggly
thing, that voice of like very, very, very white, real deep and crackly.
She's like, one man.
And she, she started hitting those notes. I'm like, God dang, this girl can sing. If she's this good at 7:30 in the morning, I can only imagine what's the warm up. So immediately I said, all right, I got to get your information. So I told Lisa, man, if you're saying about trying to get your girls digits, I got to talk to Victor and I got to get her in the studio.
Right. And just to clear,
that's how it went.
Hey, okay, cool. Just to clear it up, we're talking about again Miranda. Her name was Melissa Brown, but Melissa Brown, and her entertainer name was Miranda. She sang "Love Is So Divine." It was a house song back in the early 90s. So that's great that you told your side of the story, because I thought I'm like, oh man, I hope it was kind of accurate. Right off the bat, when I told you, like let's do something with this DJ thing, and I remember you started buying records. You're like, all right, you dedicated yourself to it quick. I'm like, oh damn, he means business. And I
remember that. Yeah.
Remember, we used to go to Music Plus. I used to walk from home to your house, and then from there we used to
and the warehouse.
And the warehouse. Oh shit, yeah, you're right.
Warehouse music, yeah.
And I remember that we used to do this is a story that I want. Another one of our buddies named Julio. He used to live in Burbank in that area, and I remember we used to go around that area. He used to be at a park called Cambridge Park, and one of the incidents that I remember about that is that after we bought records, at least I felt like, we're stepping it up. We're buying records. We're crazy. We're getting better at it, right? They're playing basketball. They're shooting some hoops and shit. And I'm like, "What's up, fools?" And like I said, Julio, and then another buddy, Manny. Right away, man, they always talk shit, and it was a positive though. But it was that friendly talking shit kind of like. Goes,
of course.
And we're like, he would be like, we're like, look, we got. He goes, oh, you got RoboCop from Bose. He goes, you didn't get RoboCop from Sleaze Boys. Like he would tell us shit like. It was like, you didn't get It Girl by Two Life Girl. You got Get It Boy from The Enforcers. It's like, fuck, you fucking hate her, dude. And I never forget that. It was like, we can never please them. It was always like, oh yeah, you got that.
No, and then when we did, he goes, hey Dick, let me go play that real quick. And we go into this place, and he just starts the heck out of it. Always got to show it off. Yeah, this is what I would do. This was mine. I'm like, God damn it,
No, dude. One of the other moments too that we went to his house. The initial time that I mentioned to Julio, I said, hey, I'm a DJ too, because he told me too. I'm like, oh, I'm DJing too. But I don't know if you remember the way he was. He was very humble, but he would but he would impress you. It was like. So I remember I went to his house, and I was already in my head. I'm like, I'm the shit. I'm gonna show him off, So I go up to Julio. I can, I can do some shit. And then I started mixing. Yeah. Oh shit, you remember? I can scratch, fool. Like Julio, move. And I started scratching whatever. Kind of, at the time I thought I was a shit, a little mediocre scratch here and there. And then he's like, yeah, I can scratch too. And he starts fucking tearing it up. And I'm like, you. And then I looked at you and you're like, oh, we gotta go. We got things to do.
No, I do remember that. Yeah, because I was like, because that's the thing. He just dedicated. With Julio, he's got that trait, that gene that cuando se aplica, he's really good at whatever he wants, right? He's like, oh, I can do that.
Their never-ending mission to program beats as you've never heard before. The groove, the cyborg unknown, the Megatroid battery brain, Spock, the SC-1200, and from the year 1988, the juggernaut, DJ Swift.
No, like
everything was. I could do that. It was always better. Like,
that's what I'm telling you. And I remember Manny would be like, "Ya llegaron los with the Corona shorts, los tijuaneros." I'm like, "You guys are fucking." But it was. I'm like, what the fuck? Like nothing we did was right to them, you know.
They love us still, man.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It was like that. You know, those friendships that you can talk shit and you know that they're just messing with you. But it was one of those surprising things that those things that would happen between friendships and everything. And then they started joining us doing parties. I don't know if you remember. There were some parties that it was
of course, in City of Manifest,
Manifest, yeah.
And that's the thing is we'd get the parties because they're always like they're like your drunk uncle, right? Like he'll show up, right, and he'll do what needs to be done, but he's not gonna do the groundwork. He's not gonna do any legwork at all. Like, can he just show up? Yeah, you can just show up. All right, cool. I'll be there.
Oh,
you don't got to do anything, man. Just show up.
Another thing I actually mentioned on that interview that I had was I spoke about you in regards to how when you initially you know me, like I said, when you initially knew that I was DJing, my system was very, it wasn't all the greatest.
Rudimentary.
Right.
Well, we'll say rudimentary. That's a good word.
Yes, and it was, but even my light show was like beacons from Swamp Meet. And again, it's because it's what I could afford at the time. But I remember you would tell me, it's like, no, we got to step it up. And I remember, at least in the when we originally, you said that to me, I was like, no, we're cool. We're cool. And you were like, nah. And because you were the first one to actually get a legit job. I think it was Kmart. And you had the advantage of having actual money. And you're like, no, hell that, screw that. And you ended up, I remember you started buying DJ gear, like the good stuff. You started buying.
Well, because the way I saw it was because, I had gone to parties, obviously, where I saw DJs and I saw what they had and I saw what we had. And I'm like, all right, so this is one of those situations where it takes money to make money, right? We have to show a good face. Like if we show that we have good equipment, even if we just show we have good equipment, but we suck, so we're going to get the job and by the gig. And by the time they realize that we suck, we already got the gig though, right? So we just got to look like we can do the job.
I know. So I do remember, that's what I'm saying. Like I remember you ended up, you would buy, there was another local DJ at the time. Well, and actually, by the way, I had him in one of my episodes, one of the shows. It's Mike Chavez. And I mentioned that we bought stuff from Mike Chavez. A lot of the gear that he had, we started buying.
I don't know for a lot. We bought an amp from him. I don't remember buying too much more from him.
No, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely correct. You bought. For whatever reason, I thought you bought helicopters from him. But now that I remember, you did not buy helicopters from him.
No, we got the helicopter brand new at the swamp. I think it was either a pawn shop or a swamp meet. We got them brand new.
Gotcha.
It was a Sherwin. I think it was a Sherwin Vega amp. And it was crazy heavy. Like it was like a 2-man lift. Especially for 2 15-year-olds, we were like, ugh.
That shit was so heavy. And I remember, like, I looked at the specs years later, not recently, but years later, and I read the specs on that particular, the A600, Sorin Vega A600.
That's right. Yep.
Dude, I don't know if you recall, it was only 300 watts per channel at 8 ohms.
Yep, of course I remember that. Yeah.
Okay. What I'm saying is, it's like, why is it so heavy? I mean, because like I said, I still DJ, and I remember amps. Me in the last few years before the pandemic, I still had an amp, and they weren't as heavy, and they were pushing for sure at least 800 for sure at 8 ohms. Yeah. And it's just funny
technology,
how,
man. It gets smaller and more powerful.
But that thing was so heavy. I remember, I think a couple times, we were like 15, 16 years old. And I remember getting a hernia. I was like, Jesus Christ. That thing was so freaking heavy, man. And then you bought another one, an SAE amp that with the big VU meters. And then, and then you ended up putting like a pink gel on it, so when the lights would turn on, it wouldn't be so bright yellow. I mean, this is the like memories that I have, and
I remember that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I had wood class in high school, and I remember building this weird rack that I think I ended up selling it to your cousin DJ Shadow, the original.
Oh, yep, I remember that too.
Yeah. See, so and then you had a cool ass amp that you bought, I think, at the Calexico Swamp Meet. It was pretty narrow, but it was heavy as hell. But it was narrow. It was more. It's like only like a 3-inch. It would only take up 3 inch in the rack.
Yeah. It was like half the size, or maybe even a quarter size of the A600.
Yeah. So all these things, I think about the stuff that we did. I remember you and me, well, at least you were, I don't know if it was me or you, I don't remember honestly, but I know that one of us said, let's get into this rapping thing / producing. And I do remember the first thing we bought was the Casio Skate. Sampler.
Yep, the Skate, absolutely.
And we bought it literally right next to that Funky Town record store. I do remember.
We were in Van Nuys, I think. We were in Van Nuys, you know?
No. It was Funky Town on, I don't know if it was Chinatown or downtown, but it was one of those record stores that Julio and Manny recommended us. And I remember we went to buy records, and then I would say maybe a few blocks later, we stopped by at a electronics store, and I think that's where you bought it, man.
I think you're right. Yeah, my dad gave us a ride. I remember after we bought it, we went outside, and my dad was circling around para no pagar ¿cómo se llama? Meter?
Yeah.
And we had cell phones. We couldn't call him. We just said, hey, drive around the block a few times. We'll come out eventually.
Oh, dude, I got a few stories about your dad, and it's connected to DJing, bro. Okay, I don't know if you remember. One of the helicopters, eventually the light broke.
Yeah, I remember that.
And because we're like, I would say, dude, fuck, that sucks. We got to go buy another one. Because it didn't cross my mind to fix it. I didn't have a soldering kit. And I remember your dad looked at us like, no. He's like, give it to me. And he put industrial soldering, like, the original was very thin.
Oh, no, he welded it. Dude. That wasn't solder.
Dude, that thing will never break again. I think if we still have it, dude. When we were doing the DJing stuff, like I said, we started getting into the producing thing. And I remember the first thing we were producing was using that Casio Skate. And one of the things that I remember you did, you're the one that you came up with the crazy ideas, because you came up with that song, the one you made, It's Time for My Rhyme. So if you want to dance, well, now's the time. Let's do a quick before I finish my rhyme.
For my rhyme. For my rhyme.
And believe it or not, me and Julio and Manny were talking about it maybe a year ago. We were talking about it, and he told me, and they were like, "Oh yeah." And you know how they are, dude. They're full of carrilla, dude. But you can tell they were like that was cool what he did, because the way you programmed that phrase, you took the samples. You know what I mean? You knew what to do.
Helmet Fish. It's time.
Yeah, and there was another one now, and then obviously you sampled your voice. So it's like. It's time. It's for my rhyme. That whole, like, you had the sampling artistic or that technique in your head already. And I remember that because I'm not and even to this day, I'm just beginning to sample, because I still continue producing the sampling way of producing or trying to make a song. You had that ability to sample or to think of samples. And it was more like, I got to make it from scratch. Like, I have to sit there and make the melody, or I figured it. I didn't feel like it was mine.
But a lot of it was. So I created the rhyme, right, and then I got that from NWA actually, because what they would do is they'd take samples, right? Like you listen to any NWA song, old NWA, right? What do you hear in the back, right? And I said, "Fuck you," all this stuff, right? That's not them in the studio. That's from an old record or from a movie or something. Right. They sample it in there. No. So I said, okay, well, we can do something like that. Sounds pretty basic.
Because right after Jam It, I don't know if it's right after, but around that time, you came out with Music Box Jam. And I'm like,
oh, yeah.
So I'm like,
I remember that song. That was a good song.
How the fuck did I not come up with that? You're like, oh, Victor. And then you're like, we're laughing. And you're like Paletero Mix. I'm like, Paletero Mix? What the fuck? And then you told me, play this song, which actually Julio and Manny had, which the rhythm tracks. It was jive tracks, rhythm tracks, 122 beats per minute. That beat, that simple kind of sounded like pan rock.
Yep.
Yeah. You took that, and you said, but you told me, and you said, and mixed Music Box Jam from Frank Mills or Frank
Music Box Dancer. Yep.
Music Box Dancer, and you go mix it, and I'm like, and sure, like, even when you told me, I'm like, oh, this is a fucking good idea. It got to the point that you said, all right, Rick, I gotta go. Do this, and then on the break go chicka 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 chicka, and I did it, but I didn't feel satisfied because it wasn't my idea. I was literally your tool. I was the tool. You know what I mean? Like, you said, do here, end it here, let it go here, and then you're like, I gotta go, and you left. And I remember, dude, because one of my buddies let us borrow 1200s. At the time, we didn't have 1200s. They had a whole top set they let me borrow. I think it was Soul my good compa Saul Nunez, or it was or it was Mike. But they let us borrow their tops with the full Newmark and 1200s, and obviously it was easier to work off of that. And I remember doing it, and I'm like, this is a badass. And you showed up again, like, just imagine you showing up in the studio, the track's ready to go, and you just show up and then go in the booth. And you're like, okay. And then you're hearing, you're like, okay, cool, that's cool. And then you gave me my parts because it was a dual song. It was a dual rap. And I was like, this motherfucker. It's like, how is Eazy-E telling Dr. Dre, do this song like this? That's how I saw it. You're Eazy-E and I'm Dr. Dre, and Dr. Dre's being told what to do. And I'm like, because remember, again, I'm not saying that's what it was. All I'm saying is there was moments when you would even say yourself, oh, Victor's the producer. Or at least that's what you would say. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying you believed it or whatever. So I believed it. I was like, oh shit, well, I'm the producer. And when you show up with Music Box Jam, I was like, hey, just don't tell them I did it, dude. Just take the credit. But you're like, oh, who cares? Like, I don't know if you remember that. So that was a song to me that I was like, I got to step up my game. And again, I did other tracks. I ended up I made another track, and then you made another one called Monoscene. You made it.
Yeah.
And that was dope. It was more simple, but it was dope. And I'm like, God damn it, Jose. You know, for a guy that...
Making other names obsolete.
Making other names obsolete. No, but that one was mine. That one I did make the music. I never forget. That one I did make it because we had a different keyboard.
With the music,
Yeah, that was another keyboard that we actually... I don't know if we purchased it or bought it, but there was another keyboard. But Monoscene, you did it. You took a song from one of those Beats records. Remember how it had loops and beats and sound effects?
Yep.
Yeah, so you took it from there and you're like, and you say, I'm just going to rap over it. And then you added the Mami and Negro. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
But it was you. It was all you. And I'm like, God damn it, leave the producing to me, fool. And you're like, no, I like this. This is good. So, but then I made our news, my Latino news, and I made that one. I made it, and I was proud of it. I'm like, finally, I did something. To me in my head, I was like, this is pretty good. But anyways, we definitely got into the producing part of it. Give me a 090. I don't know. 0. Okay. Part of it, and I don't know if you remember, that was the beginning of it. We continued. You kind of went away from it because I think you already went to the Marines. You went to boot camp or something.
Yeah, by that time I'd already gone to the Marine Corps.
Yeah, but I do remember before you left, you purchased the Roland R70, which is the toppest gear we had in the.
It wasn't the R8?
No. It was the first thing we had. Like I said, Casio, and then you purchased the R70. The Roland R70.
Oh, we had the Rex. Don't forget the Rex, man.
You had the Rex.
Don't ever forget about the Rex.
The Yamaha Rex 50. That was the shit. You're right. You know, I still have it, by the way. I have both of them still.
I hope so.
I have them storage. Because you told me, like, take care of them. I'm like, oh, I still have them. It's still there. Even the Casio.
I'll come by and pick them up later, man.
Yeah, you should, man. The Casio is still there.
You still got all my vinyl? You still got all my vinyl?
I got all your vinyl. Your vinyl's still there. I still got it. Definitely, dude. And yes, whether you believe it or not, Julio and them, they always come off as, oh yeah, DJ Mono made this track, and then they always play it off as laugh. But when it comes down to it, I know they remember it. That was cool. And I told them like, oh no, fucking Jose was fucking was sampling shit before I was sampling. Well, obviously it was with the Casio, but you already, like, you knew what the Casio was for. You knew. To me, it was more like, cool, we got a keyboard that could sample. You were like, cool, we could sample. You see the difference?
No, we have a sampler that's also a keyboard.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But you took it like, to you, I feel like to you was a tool, and you used the tool. To me, it was like, what can I do with this magical fucking box? And then I'm all here drooling about it while you were like, let me use it. I have an idea. Let me just do it. And I'll come back tomorrow and try to keep up, like Back to the Future. That's how it felt with Music Box Jam.
Now it's my turn to make you move, and when you see me on the mic, you'll swear that you heard me jam once before, and just like always, you'll ask for more. Dream and me are here to move your feet with this unique jam and funky beat, and when you hear the mix, you'll say, and it's all because this Music Box Jam.
I'm telling you, you left. I never forget. I was at the Garmo already, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I have this. Do this, and that." I go, "Man, you go, Evic, I gotta go." And you took off, and he goes, and then the next day I had it todo fucking bitter and shit. Well, here's the track, fool. Like, and then okay, here's your. Like I said, you're like, here's your parts, and try to keep up.
Watch my cues and try to keep up.
Watch my cues and try to keep up, dude. Exactly. $5 weren't that easy to come by. I mean, at least it's like, God damn it. It was okay.
You know that? I'd be like, hey, Dad, let me give $5. And then I'd always be like, come on, Dad. You're not his dad. He's like,
oh, don't start with that, dude. Every Friday, I would show up and your dad would dread it. Like, he'd look at me.
I know. I'd be like, well, Dad, we can go ask his dad, but I mean, that's messed up. He's like, oh.
And I would play along with it too. I would give him the puppy eyes. Like,
yeah, and the you know the pushing the dirt with your toe back and forth, like, oh, okay, senor. And then you took your hat off and you play with the brim.
Yeah, but
look at pasas que, and like,
no, but dude, that got old. That got old because your dad, literally, I would remember he would go open his wallet, but he was giving me the dirty look. And that's my compa, dude. He would look at me like, oh yeah, like, dude. He would look at me like, kind of like, you're lucky your dad's dead, fool. You know.
Yeah, you would. Like,
you're
looking at a true story. Like I said, I checked it out. I corroborated it. It's true.
Dude, and I remember that there was one. Well, I would say a couple times where we went to Music Plus and we bought records and we didn't really like them because sometimes we're like, who is this? But and we would like hear it and we would scratch it and we like take it back. But dude, me, I did it too. But I remember you told me just go there. Because at first I was like, nah, I don't think we should do that. But you're like, just tell them it doesn't work. But I'm like, okay. You never explained to me how. So what I did, just to make it look more realistic, I remember going up to the cashier or the register, and I'm like, hey man, I did if you saw me, I would do the whole skit. Oh man, this is bullshit. What's wrong, sir? Oh, this record, it's scratch. It's scratched. Well, go get another copy. And I don't know if you remember, we would still hide the rest of the copy so we can say we can't find it. We have to get another.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay. There is no other copy, man. It's the last copy, homie.
Yeah. So I'm like, this is bullshit. What kind of business are you running here? And they're like, well, sir, you can pick another one. And then we would
get made it, you know.
So we would get another one. With at least we knew, like, let's say Egyptian Lover. We're like, okay, 80% of the times it's going to be a good track. Or something like that. So we're like, so we go, like, and then I would still take it up to the register. I'd be like, this one, fine, I'll take this one, I guess. And
we going to like settling.
Yeah, like
I already have like 4 of these, but I'll take this one again.
This is preposterous. I was like, oh. So stupid like that. And I remember we used to those times are weird. Like we did a bunch of crappy, I mean crazy shit. I remember there was one time when you didn't go with me. I actually went to Music Plus, and I lived in Sun Valley, and I remember it was getting late, and you weren't there, so I didn't mind walking with you home because I had somebody. But there was one time you didn't go. I ended up going, but then I'm like, okay, I can buy 2 records. I'm on 1 record and have bus money, or I can buy these 2 badass records and walk home. Guess what I did, bro?
You bought 2.
Yeah, I fucking walked home.
Yeah, of course you did.
You're like, of course you did. This is no like a weird. I wonder what he's gonna say. No, it was pretty evident that I was gonna walk home, and I remember walking home, and for whatever reason, it seemed like a long walk home, which technically it really wasn't, but it felt that way that particular. Maybe because when me and you would go, we would talk all the way, so time flew.
Yeah.
That's what I declare to other races all around the world. The real mechanic, we're on the floor. Oh yeah, that was my homeboy Dream from the Bassmen. You all wanna know how to spell my name? Alright, here we go. From the M to the O to the N to the O. One on the mic, the song on roll. The rock to a stereo, that's why I'm here. And to stop all the junk that show their fear. And now, voy a cantar en español porque los latinos me entienden. Me están tirando dinero de los buenos. Somos mexicanos y tenemos mucho orgullo. Y la raza que somos, tú no sé qué fue de ti. Yo quiero darme un robo a tratar a esos vatos que hablan como país. Cuando algo mal pasó, su lengua tiene el gato. Oye, that was chocolate, el sabor de vainilla ya no ven, compadre, yo lo que quiero es saber de todos, quién entiende mi lengua y quién entiende mi modo de ser, mi poder, que dos mexicanos nos puedan mover. Oh yeah. Yo, check this out. People say we're bring up the G. So show who's gonna follow in a battle, in a show, or whatever we please. When we start expressing the lyrics, and I'm about to set the free. So what's up? Yeah, we got one more. What is the paleta mix? Here we are to rock the place. Dream and mono, I'm in our base. We're breaking this jam one by one so that you can dance and have some fun. I'm bringing this jam, that's what I do. And we like the boys and girls I want. Now we're gonna break it down first and second. We'll get stuff in the house session. We'll start off with me, I'm DJ Dream. Our Mono and Dream Team. We're here to prove that it takes two. Just do the jam and you know it's true. After we're gonna have you with some bass. And then we're gonna have a change of pace. And when you hear the mix, you'll say damn, and it's all because it's Music Box Jam. Oh yeah, somebody did it outside. That's right, rocking the house, Music Box Jam, the Bassmen, Dream and Mono and Fill-Up, thank boy. Oh yeah. Okay, now's my turn to make you move, and when you see me on the mic, you'll swear that you heard me jam once before, and just like going to last for more. Dream and me are here to move your feet with this unique jam, the funky beat. So when you hear the mix, you'll say, damn, it's all because this Music Box Jam. Oh yeah, put it up, DJ Spell, with the paleta mix, Music Box Jam. Oh yeah, once again. Okay, party people, it's time to go. Oh, this is my room dreaming. Suckers in the house, it's not celosos. We know this is it, but we'll be back. Let's do with another track. We know when you heard this, you said damn, and it's all because of this Music Box Jam. You guys sing along if you know the words.
But anyways, going back to the studio or recording in your basement, I don't know if you came up with the name because we were like, what do we call ourselves? And I remember, well, we're in the basement. I want to say that you came up with the name. We're the Basement or something. And it made sense. I was like, well, we're the basement. So might as well call it the Basement. So
Here we go. The Bassmen are here and ready to go. It's Dream on my side and they call me Mono. Now feel the funky beats as they hit hard. Big bass booming like a bodyguard. But what I'm here for is what I'm gonna tell ya. The name of Mono's what I'm gonna sell ya. When you break it down, it's M-O-N-O. And when the girls say it, it makes the juice flow. But what it stands for is a little more important. I used to be Muñeco, but my name got shortened. It was given to me by my mom, and it's a hell of a better name than Dick or Tom. Especially in the country that I was born, the amigo country or the land of warm. Mexico is what I'm talking about. And if you don't like my hint, then get the hell out. Since you had the history, it's now complete. Why I'm making other names obsolete. Oh yeah. Simone.
do you remember that?
Yeah, and I said, but it's a play on words because we're like the bass, right?
Right.
Like low bass, and then men.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so
and I remember when Chavez was trying to be like, "Hey, I can manage you guys." And we told him we can. We thought, of course, we were dumb because we were younger than him, so automatically he was the subject matter expert. And we're like, oh, he must know what the heck he's talking about because we don't know anything about it. Right. So he's like, "Hey, so what name are you going to go with?" And he goes, "The Bassmen." He goes, "Now, I don't know." I go, "Okay, I thought you were asking us. I'm sorry." We're not changing the name, bro. And I remember he had like another name, and I'm like, "What? No, not. That's more catchy." I said, "No, that's not happening.
Yeah,
that's not going to happen." Yeah,
I remember that we were the Basement, and I remember, I would say maybe a few months before you went to boot camp, we performed. Do you remember the singer your cousin introduced us to, Chacho? The guy's
Chacho, of course, yeah.
Chacho. By the way, he later on in life, I went to a record store. I was buying records, and sure enough, I found his record, and he had like a merengue, kind of housey merengue, Latin house song out there, and it was Chacho. And I remember his face. I was like, "Oh, look at this fool! He's still at the time, but he was still like, this is like late '90s." I go, "Man, he's still doing it," because they had the time too. I think it was like '98 or something. I go, he's still trying to pursue that life. And I remember your cousin connected us to Chacho, and they out of nowhere, remember, we were like, we're going to Calexico and perform.
And it's not our face, cause we rock it like this, with my fist in the air, and the sign of peace. That's what I declare to all the races from around the world, to bring this spectacular on the floor. Oh yeah! Once again, the Bassmen, we're rocking it.
We got Dream and Mono in the house.
Oh yeah, show what time it is, homie.
Yep.
Dope.
Of course.
And
That was
that's
awesome, man. I had a great time. I love that. I still have that I wouldn't say that VHS, but I put on DVD. I still have that.
yeah, me too. Yeah, and it's funny because I remember that's the night that I kept telling you, dude, what if we forget our lines or lyrics? Because we did 4 tracks or 5. I don't remember, but I know we did.
And remember, we had to church it up because it was a school, so we couldn't use our normal lyrics.
Yes.
So I said, look, we don't have time to make a radio version, so we're gonna omit our words. Remember?
And that's what made me nervous.
And you could.
Yeah, but you pulled it off.
Hey man, I think your microphone's cutting out. I'm like, oh man, it's done on purpose.
But we pulled it off because I remember your song. There was a part you had a couple bad words, and you like back to back, and you kept on the beat, but you looked at me, and I'm like, oh shit, we're pulling it off. Like I said, I was worried about just forgetting my lyrics, my words.
Yeah, no, we did well, man. We did real well.
We did good. It was
For
funny.
a bunch of people that, like, you know, nothing ever came of it, but I tell you what, it was a great experience. Like, I loved it. I had a great time.
No, me too, dude. I'm telling you, I took that with me. But I'm gonna be honest, whether we were performing or not, it did kept that in my head. Of like, I want to do this. I want to produce music. It wasn't even the concert. It was the ability to, like, wow, they liked our songs, and it's shit we did. You know what I mean? Like, we made this music.
Yeah, absolutely,
So to me, I was like, I want to keep doing this. But I did, one of the cool things about that is that I learned a lot in that studio, dude. Whether it was unconventional, it wasn't a real studio. I did learn a lot. Like the DAT. One of the things I did wrong with the DAT player, if you remember, I bought a DAT tape recorder.
Yeah.
But it was considered a home unit. But nevertheless, I bought a DAT recorder, and obviously it recorded really clean. I didn't know at the time, the concept of the way you measure digital peak as opposed to analog. With analog, you have that 0 on the VU meter, but you have headroom, meaning if you do go over it, it's more forgiving. Analog was very more forgiving. If anything, they give you more warmth and some sort of cool saturation, as long as you didn't overdo it. Digital, if you went past their version of 0, it clips. It sounds like shit. It sounds distorted. So what I would do is, I didn't realize that at the time, the DAT machine, the DAT recorder, 0 was at -20. But since the way that was made as a consumer, it still had a 0 at the top, way at the end, with just literally 1 bar of red. So guess what I done? I took that and thought that, as long as I hit the red every once in a while, I was already way surpassed what I was supposed to hit. So a lot of my DATs and a lot of recordings, I try to export them out and record them. Yeah, and my job, literally, maybe 3 years ago, we had a DAT machine, and I'm like, oh, dude, is it okay? And the guy's like, yeah, you're on free time, bring it. So I brought all my DATs, and I tried to play them back and record them. Dude, I would say 95% of them were distorted, like clipping. And the only reason why I didn't notice it in my machine, I think it had a specific buffer that if you record on the machine you record and you play it back, it was more forgiving, that you couldn't really tell. But when I played on a professional DAT player, dude, everything was distorted. And I would notice my levels, and I'm like, oh my God. And then my buddy saw it too, and he goes, man, you guys, you recorded hot. Everything you recorded was hot. And I told him, I go, you know what? It was my inexperience thinking that digital inputs was the same as analog.
Analog, yeah.
Yeah, so and like I said, I learned that as time went by, and I used to do video dubbing, so I knew that -24 and -20 in audio was the 0. So that's how because the signal to noise ratio was way better, obviously, digitally. So you could go lower and you wouldn't pick up a hiss or a noise. Yeah. I didn't know that at the time.
Well, that's why I was taking those classes with Freedom Williams' dad. Remember?
Yes. I remember, I don't know if you remember, we took a class in, was that the one in Van Nuys? We took a class, but remember the teacher would always doing yoo-hoos?
That's Freedom Williams' dad. I'm telling you.
Oh, okay. But hear me out. Even though I didn't learn much about him, because I don't know if you remember, I would say half the class, he talked about his history of him playing saxophone for some bands.
Yes, of course, of course.
God, dude. I remember you, like I said, you went to boot camp. This time passes by. And I remember I ended up going to a trade school, which that's where I learned practically 95% of the stuff that I know now. And I remember at that time, the Casio, you start realizing, man, that shit is 8-bit. It's not even like 16-bit. It was like very bad analog sounding. I started getting
it was 8-bit for sure.
Yeah, I was starting to get into the quality. I wanted to hear quality. And I remember, and I think I already had my DAT player. So imagine I went from my analog tape to DAT. To me, I could start noticing the difference. And then I'm like, we need to step up the sampler. And I don't know if you remember, I purchased, it was called the Lexicon Jam Man. And it was a rack mount sampler. Very primitive, very not user-friendly. Because it was like one knob and an enter. So it was very like you got to go to the menu.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so it's pretty annoying. But the cool thing, I think it was 16-bit. It was still considered analog quality. It wouldn't go no more than 32K instead of 44.1 like CD quality. But it was still way better than 8-bit and the Casio. And I remember I had a total of 16 seconds. Or you can break them down like the Casio. You can break them down to 4 seconds. Bottom line is, I actually made a couple tracks and then it had a loop feature. So I don't know if you remember your buddy. You introduced me to Harris. His name was Harris.
Of course, man. Yeah,
Harris.
Right. Yeah.
And he also came with a little. He was a little more musically inclined. He actually knew something about music, so he helped me a lot in regards like this is the note I use. And then once he showed me, he also respected like, well, you're the producer, dude. Here's the note, and then from there I'll take over. But he would tell me I'm singing this note, and then he would show me, and then and he goes, "You got it, yeah." And then he would let me play, and I worked from that. But I remember I did a couple tracks and I used that Lexicon Jam Man. And dude, if it wasn't for that, I mean, that's what it almost seems like it gave it a little, it stepped it up. Do you remember that song that he did? What was he made two or
Harris did it?
Yeah, he did 2 tracks. It was his, by the way. He wrote these songs. He already had the melody and everything. Like I said, I was pretty much just like, okay, I'll lay it down, but it was his ideas. The only thing that I would say one of them was my song completely. And it was just instrumental, and he came in and he put the melody and he put the lyrics. So it's like a 50-50 on that one. The other one, he told me what to play and everything, but that's the one I used Tony's beat. And that was my first song I ever used a loop beat completely. The drums was not the drum machine, it was literally a loop from Tony song.
I wanna hold you in my arms to keep you safe and warm. I wanna hold you oh so tight to love all through the night. I wanna hold you in my arms to keep you safe and warm. I wanna hold you oh so tight to love all through the night. I want your love.
And I was so proud of myself because it sounded so legit, man. I think I added cymbals from the R70, but that's it. So it can initiate intros and breakdowns and the drum fill maybe, but that's it. Everything else was just the song, just looping beat, and then I added the bass line. That was good times, man. Like I said, I did learn a lot from my school, and then from there, and like I said, time. But like I said, I never stopped producing and whatever. And I think because of the pandemic, I actually think I've gone way better because I have time.
Sure.
Yeah, and I've been producing and I've been working with some people from New York. I just interviewed the guys that I work with from New York. And Jose, I obviously I'm going to send you the link. I need you to hear it. I'm talking to the guys that know all these freestyle producers from back in the days. I'm talking Aldo Marin. They were talking about Land Rascals, how they know Albert Cabrera, like they hang out with Carlos Barrios. Like I'm talking to the guys that we grew up reading the records. And to me, it's amazing. Like I'm talking to them. You know, some people like might not be starstruck when they're not into a certain thing. Well, I'm into freestyle, you know that, and into producing. So I'm here talking to these guys, and they're talking to me like I know I'm fully well, we're not friends, you know, personally, but they're talking to me like they know me, and they were like, oh yeah, Aldo Marine was showing me a track. He produced Sapphire. I have the drum machine that they use for that song. And I was like, he goes, oh yeah, then we changed the chip for when the EMU SP12 for the snare for Bad at Heart by George Lamond. I'm like, huh? So I'm drooling, dude. I'm drooling listening to these guys. They're telling me history, bro, from their point of view. I'm not watching a documentary. I'm hearing them tell me. So it was a very, very cool experience. And I would say I'm kind of happy that where my life is in regards to at least being part of it, you know, whether it's where I should be in a financial place producing music, you know what I mean? It's more like I'm happy just to be part of it. I'm also remixing for Juanito. I remix a track and it's going to be on the vinyl records. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where like I'm in it. Maybe I'm 20, 30 years late, but I'm in it and I still enjoy it, you know? And it's cool. Again, I want to thank you, Jose. We ran out of time. Definitely got to send you the link. This is interesting. Like I said, we could have definitely talked more. So many experiences and so many stuff. There's so many people. I want to do a quick little honorable mention to our other crew members. Remember, it was Weddle, DJ Weddle, Juan Carlos, and Jerry. Even Jerry was part of the crew. Trendy Boy. I remember these guys, and like I said, you know, their lives went somewhere else too. And but you know, there's so many things that we did, and even
don't forget Gilbert, man. Gilbert was a part of the crew for a little bit.
Wow, you remember? You're right, Gilbert. I forgot about Gilbert.
Of course, man.
Yeah, he was from Paul. He was on my end. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Hola, pues, mono. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll call, and I mean, we'll keep in touch, man. All right.